What's up, runaways, and welcome back to our channel. This week we have an exciting new update and we're gonna show you our new home.
All right, so quick update on how we got here. So 3 months ago, we moved here onto our property in Tennessee that we plan to slowly build out into our off-grid homestead. So to get us out of our van and up and running quickly, we actually had a tiny cabin delivered here, a shell of a tiny cabin that we planned at the time to build into our home. Well, we found out that there were some legal issues with that. We made a video on it and that got a lot of attention. So today we're gonna show you around what's going to be our new home and walk you through the reasons that we made the decision to get this camper and what we plan to do between the camper and the cabin in the future here on the Runaway Ranch.
We're Matt and Cass, a couple of adventure chasers seeking the roads less traveled in today's world. For the last 3 years, we've been living on the road. First, in our bus home Lady May, then our rad van Jolene. Our journey brought us through the wildest parts of the United States, from the crystalline springs of Florida to the incredible peaks of Idaho, and then spending 6 months internationally traveling all through Mexico. But today, we put the van in park to take on a new challenge, the building of a fully off-grid homestead in rural Tennessee.
So if you've been following us for a little bit, you know we love campers and you know we love old things and making them new. So that's exactly what we plan to do with this fifth wheel. Let's go check her out.
Welcome to our new mansion, a 1988 Fleetwood Prowler. At 32 foot long, there's about 240 square feet of living space, which is a big step up from our current 70. With only 88 of these made, this was number 6 in production and was the penthouse of campers of its time. And ironically, it was manufactured in the same year as our van home Jolene.
So a really unique thing about this camper, and probably the thing we liked the most, was we had this spot. This is actually the fifth wheel, what would you call it, hump? And this spot is really, really nice because it gives us an entire living room, which we have not had in 3 years. So a whole living room to call our own and just be comfortable up here. Something that really attracted us to this camper was obviously this living room, but also the amount of windows that this space does have, so we let in a ton of natural light.
Fun little insight into the special marriage between my wife and I is that she has a way with planting a little seed and then slowly watering that seed until eventually we're sitting in the camper that she wanted. Because these are unique, there was only 88 of this model ever made. It was 12 hours away and I said, "Hun, there's no way I'm driving 12 hours away, and honestly I want something a little newer that's going to be an easy conversion for us to just have a stable home." She eventually found this one that was 6 hours away. And I said, okay, it's a little bit closer, but let's keep looking. I found a camper that was 13 years newer. It was way closer. It was only 2.5 hours away. And we kind of went back and forth in conversation on which one we liked. Day after day, she talked about how awesome that living room was and like, hey, look what we could do here. And hey, the windows are so big. The one that you like doesn't have the windows that are so big. And she kept watering that seed and watering that seed. And now,
I have a camper!
Here we are. Drove 6 hours with our neighbor. Thanks, James, for helping us out on that to pick this bad boy up out of Indiana. And here we are.
So when we started the search for campers, something we really wanted was a nice big kitchen. Again, last 3 years we have not had that, so having some space to cook and can and prep our food is going to be huge. So we loved how this kind of wrapped into the L sink here. The oven is actually a little bit bigger. It's about an apartment size oven and fridge, which is really nice. And the vision we have for this space is kind of like a southwestern deserty kind of vibe, which is really awesome. I think all these colors will wrap in really nicely with that. The dinette in this space is like the perfect example of the difference between a tiny van like Jolene and a bigger camper like this. You actually have different separation of spaces, which is really, really nice. So I can sit here and work and Matt can be all the way over there laying on the couch relaxing. In our current van Jolene, like our living room and our kitchen and our dining room is all the same space. So it becomes a little cagey, especially if you're not traveling full time in it. So this is the bathroom. Not much special to talk about other than it's a bathroom and we're excited to have a real shower and a real toilet. Check it out. And lastly, we have a whole bedroom and a queen size bed. If you guys know anything about Jolene, we have to crawl up top and we have barely enough space to breathe at the top, which we love. But this is gonna be such an upgrade for us to have some big closets to store our clothing, as well as have a full queen size bed.
Run away, I might
obviously there's still a ton of stuff that we want to do to make this our home, give that little Matt and Cass flair. But for being an 88, she's in great condition and we should be able to build it out pretty quickly.
All right, so quick rundown on what made us make the decision to get this camper.
So number one, winter's coming.
Yeah, so winter's coming soon. It's October now. We've already had a 37-degree night, so that was chilly. And the reality is that even if we were to push forward with the cabin right now, the time that we would finish it would not be ideal for winter.
Definitely wouldn't be ready in time.
Yeah, and while we can live in Jolene, our camper right now, it's just not an ideal situation to be in. When we were living in her full time, we were chasing 75 degrees, and we often found ourselves in cooler temperatures.
But not an entire winter of cold temperatures.
So with shorter days, colder days, we're gonna be inside more. And being inside of something that's about the size of a walk-in closet through an entire winter was just not ideal. While the diesel heater is able to keep the camper plenty warm, through an entire winter it just doesn't make sense because our top is canvas, so the heat kind of just leaks out. While the diesel heater can keep up and keep it warm, it's just leaking out.
And we want to be able to this winter to have friends and family come and stay on the property with us, and our van does not allow for that. So we have this camper and it's much bigger. And the second big reason that we bought this camper was finances.
Yeah, so we got to the property and immediately found we already knew that it was going to be an expensive project. While we have a few different sources of income right now, a lot of this initial project is being funded through savings that we took a long time to build up. Now, the original plan with the cabin was to build out the cabin and pretty quickly build a barn here on the property that could be our workshop and kind of cater to, realistically, the majority of
our needs.
Yeah, exactly. And now that we've been here for a little bit, we looked at what the cost of building out the cabin was going to be, and then what the cost of building the barn was going to be. And while we could have afforded it, we just didn't like the position that it was going to end up putting us in if we did do that. Exactly. Kind of like the oh shit fund. It would not really exist anymore.
And it would delay us a little bit on getting chickens and getting different type of animals and getting our garden up and running and different things that we want to make sure are a top priority here.
So what we were able to do with this is we got a really good deal on this camper. We got it for just $3,800. And the beautiful part of that is, like, it's already a house, right? Like, we're putting paint on the walls, we're definitely making upgrades to it, but the conversion cost is going to be very, very low, versus if we built the cabin out to be a house, we weren't going to do it in a very modest way. We wanted it to be a really, really awesome cabin, and maybe one day it will be, but that was going to cost a lot of money.
So this gives us housing for an affordable cost really, really quickly.
And then the interim plan with the cabin is to be that barn. So we're gonna build it out to be a workshop, to be our little brewery, our little whatever else, and be an auxiliary space for us to work on projects. One day, it might still become a house. We haven't written that off by any means, just it made the most sense financially and with winter coming, and for one more reason, to use that cabin as a barn.
And as a workshop, and then live in this. And finally, the number 3 reason we decided to go with this camper is the unknown.
So, like many of y'all commented on the video about the cabin, there's a lot of different routes that we could theoretically go. At the end of the day, none of them are certain. None of them will certainly satisfy the requirements, other than 1 or 2, and those 1 or 2 are a very, very big lift. And again, with winter coming and expenses, that just wasn't practical for us right now for the time being. And in the position that we're currently in, we need a place to live that's certain.
Now.
We need a place that's stable. The point of us getting this property wasn't to be looking over our shoulder. It was to be comfortable, it was to be peaceful, and at the end of the day, it's to homestead. It's not about a cabin,
no.
It's not about anything else. It's for us to live on the land, to live off-grid, and start this awesome little project on what we hope to transform into a little slice of heaven here. So dealing with that unknown was something that we just didn't want to do right now. And in the future, when we have secured housing, when we have things going better here, it might be waters that we're going to be willing to go through. For the time being, this is what made sense for us.
And I love it.
I'm so excited
I'm
for it.
so excited.
Got a ton of big plans coming up, not just for this camper, but for the homestead, a lot of big projects, and we really, really look forward to bringing you all along with us as we transform this space, transform this property.
So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss a video in the future.
See you soon, fam.
Love you.